And we're back with another episode of R&R. I'm your host, Jamerson Ballard. Happy Monday, everybody. And so what's happening, man? We're going to give it a couple minutes to let the room load up a little something, man. But it's May now. You know what I'm saying? It's tourist season, for those of you who observed that. It's getting quite summery out there. And, people are acting crazy as ever, man. A lot of nonsense going on in today's world, in this country. It's like we can't get enough of mass shootings. It's getting to the point where they're just calling anything a mass shooting, seem like. But we had an actual mass shooting again out in the Outlet Mall in Allen, Texas. And, I shout out to all of those victims and their families, man. I hope that everybody is able to get through that, man. My prayers go out to y'all. It's a very sad state of affairs. But also, we have 2 female officers in Detroit arrested for breaking and entering on another police officer's situation. That's strange. Also, the godfather of AI, Steve Wozniak, resides from Google, and says that they should halt the development of AI for a period because of the danger it poses to humanity. I think his main concern is the criminal element and how they might use the new developments in their plight to rob people and cause havoc. It's just a crazy world, everybody. And but today's episode of R&R, we're going to focus on something a little more close to home, and it's probably going to hurt a lot of you, but it cuts both ways, and we have to have these conversations in order to grow. So, without further ado, today's topic is, and again, you'll have to forgive my background. I don't understand what it is about this time of day. I try to pick a day or a time where it's not as active around this area, but it's just never ending. At any rate, today's topic is a baby mama or a baby daddy fit for marriage? Yeah, I said it. And that's probably gonna hit a lot of people. It's not like I'm not affected by this at all. It's just, where are your priorities is probably the real question. Because I'm pretty sure the short answer is, yeah, but it definitely depends on what it is that you are looking for, and what are your qualities. And this is only if you're honest with yourself, if this is going to work out long term, because a lot of people can crash into each other's genitals, and to be honest, most people don't have a lot of discipline when it comes to that, because you want to screw. It's not a secret, especially if you are a grown adult. You feel like you have the right to screw, and a lot of you don't. You don't like to use protection. So with that comes receipts. Receipts being children. So it's just. But marriage is something altogether different. It's not just about the ceremonial aspect of it, and a lot of women, not to pick on you guys, the main focus a lot of times is just the ceremony and being able to say that I'm married. I was married now. I was married now. Yeah. And some of you, if you're honest with yourself, you just found a new fool. I mean, guys too. You know, I'm not sure if guys are altogether about the ceremonial aspect of it. Your focus a lot of times is you get to have unlimited sex now, and all the dirty, nasty sex that you probably weren't able to have when you was just dating this person. But in reality, a lot of that is going on way before the marriage vows are spoken. And, you know, it's not the fact that you're doing that for just the marriage. It's pretty much anybody can have whatever this guy's had or this girl has had. You're a baby mother or a baby father. It's not a secret that you're into sex, because you have a walking, talking, there's evidence of that right there next to you, possibly. It's just the fact that, I mean, because let's be honest, some of us don't even want marriage, because in this day and age, it's almost like no advantage for a man to be married to a woman. It's like, what do we get out of this besides the fact that if I get, or I have a lot, or I do well, that I'm going to have to split whatever I did right down the middle. Now, I'm sure if those of you who are women who are doing very well for yourself, and you consider the same things, but for men, by and large, your worth is not necessarily a deal breaker if you don't have a whole lot of money. For a woman, usually you just have to have an attitude of gratitude and cooperation and, you know, some listening skills, and you can land a big fish. I mean, beauty is one thing, but beauty is also in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? Dating can be stressful, and I know it's a lot of us who just want to just find somebody that can, you know, to lay down with, eat dinner with, and not argue all day. But it's a lot more to it, and especially if you're bringing a child or children into the relationship, because when you get married, you do marry the people's family, and that is a part of the family. And with that comes the person's parent, whether it be male or female, and what it is they have going on. If it's somebody that you dealt with in the past that maybe wasn't a very good decision maker, because at the time you wasn't doing too well and they let you crash into them, and now y'all have a child, maybe now you make better decisions, and you step your game up and you get married, and now you have this male or this lady who may or may not have custody of the baby. And I know for a lot of you, it's like, okay, well, if you're a girl, you got the baby, so if the guy falls on hard times, what does that have to do with you? There are some of you, though, who also feel like that's the father of my child. I have to help. He needs a kidney, etc., etc. He can't get around again, and I need to, you know, what's going on, 29? So it's just like, it's a difficult question for those of you who actually aspire to get married at some point. And that, you know, I don't just reserve for the capital letter club members. I'm sure it's some Rand Gang members who actually want to have somebody that can be with for eternity. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily go down to the courthouse and get married. Maybe you would like to get a contract drawn up, but just so that two people agree and that they all feel like that this is beneficial for each party, and you decide that you want to deal with each other only and exclusively, because it's a lot going on out here. A lot of diseases, a lot of unknowns, a lot of alternative lifestyle choices that people may or may not decide they want to disclose. It's a lot of hit and miss when it comes to this relationship. And I'm not claiming to be a relationship expert. I really try to stay away from relationship situations, but this isn't just for people in relationships. I'm trying to catch it before it gets to that point, So for those of you who are young enough to where you haven't actually had children, this episode is primarily for you. But even for those of you who have gone into relationships, because everybody isn't a baby mama by default. I mean, some of you have had long-term relationships, been married, marriage failed. I'm also a part of that group where I've been in a relationship for a very long time, and things just tend to go the other way, you know? What now? You know what I'm saying? Are you still fit for marriage? Am I still fit for marriage? It just depends on what it is the person's looking for. Ooh, give me a second, y'all. Had to put the do not disturb on that thing, man, so I won't be getting weird calls while I'm trying to go live with y'all. Anyway, but yeah, man, being in relationships by itself is challenging enough. You understand what I'm saying? And some people might feel like that's enough. You might not aspire to be married, and that's fine. But for those of you who do think that, or maybe a little disillusioned about the fact that, you know, I'm a catch. It depends on who you ask. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to be honest with ourselves. I mean, brutally. Are you fit for marriage? You might feel like, yeah, you a 10 and you deserve a 12. So you need to be making this, that, and the third. And it's like, if you going into this with a child already, you've lost value depending on the guy that you're dealing with. Now, that's not to say that the guy's a bad person because he doesn't have a kid and he doesn't want to involve himself with a woman with a kid. That's not a bad person. I mean, you know, you just have to understand that you've hindered yourself in the market, son, and that's okay. You just have to be realistic about your choices. I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I'm not telling you that you're a bad person because you had a baby out of wedlock. I'm just saying you have to be honest with yourselves. You know, there are people out there who make enormous amounts of money. And a lot of us as human beings tend to only deal with what we can see and touch. You may not have ever met he or she who was in the future 3, 6, 7, 10 months down the line. But if you 14, 15, 16, 22, having reckless sex and you end up having a baby, there are consequences for that beyond just the child. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, some of you, it's better to deal with the devil you know rather than the devil you don't. So you just try to make it work the best that you can. Give that all that you could. And if that doesn't work, then that's the best you could do. You have every right to move on with your life. You have to understand, though, that there's a lot that goes into trying to select a mate when you have children, because it's not just you anymore. And, you know, having a child is a package deal. Now, for the females, that's more intricate. Sometimes, a lot of times for men, it's not necessarily that big a deal. I guess it should be. You know, you should require that your people are somebody that you can deal with and that loves you and can love your children. But that's not necessarily always the case, because you may or may not have custody of your children or child. That's not a big issue. But if and when the female falls on hard times and she needs help, and you going about your life with your new mate, and she can't take your child to school now because she's having car trouble and you haven't really been contributing as much, and you have to step it up, that can cause a strain on your relationship. And, you know, you have to be realistic with yourself, because things do happen. Although they've been good for the first 3 years, 4th, 5th might be something come into it to kind of throw things off. Is that the woman that you pick willing to suffer through that with you? Have y'all discussed these things? You know, a lot of people tend to not have to use their imagination anymore because of computers, AI, video games, etc. But these things are what the imagination is for. Now, I would hope that you don't just imagine that things go wrong all the time. I'm just saying you have to kind of prepare for the worst. You hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. You know, and if you going into everything with your hopes high, but you don't really understand that things could go bad, you might be asking for some bull crap later on down the line, man. Now, I understand that, you know, a lot of people are just frivolous with their genitals, and that's not good, man. That's not good. So, you know, in our community, I personally would like for us to tighten up more, because I heard somebody say my grandbaby's daddy one day, and that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth to think that, I mean, first of all, let's just take that in for a second. My grandbaby's daddy. It's going to another generation, and it was hard enough to accept BabyDaddy, BabyMomma, you know, and it's not like other parts of the world don't deal with this, and I can't deal with all of that right now. We have to fix our own house before we can get anybody else's together, and I'm just talking to us specifically because I noticed that a lot of the world kind of looks to us for a lot of things, you know, as far as culture, style, coolness, but it's kind of a sad state of affairs to see that we can't get along with each other long enough to have a lasting connection. I mean, it's like the marriage, it's like a unseen expiration date, like 10 years. And then it's like, okay, that's enough. And that's not necessarily cool, but that's kind of what it is right now. You know what I mean? People don't really understand it. You know, things change, people grow at different rates. And with things like the internet and Instagram and things like dating sites, it's sometimes hard for people to keep focused because you feel like there's a lot of options out there. But in reality, there aren't as many options as you would like for them to be. Because once you cut into it and the rubber hits the road, although this person may be very attractive and they look good on paper, you really don't know a person until they're mad at you. And so the first 2 years might be hunky-dory. Y'all still in, you know, la-la land, loving and even liking still. But after a while, that person might wear on you a little bit, which is why, for me personally, I prefer somebody that's a little bit more seasoned in life. A lot of people who are successful may decide that they want to deal with a woman that's youthful in age and trainable. At the same time, is what happens when this person learns you like all the other women learned you. Is she still going to respect you? Is she still going to make efforts to understand you when she don't need you anymore to help with guidance and instruction? You understand what I'm saying? Like she or he understands that the world doesn't stop and end with you. You know what I mean? So it's just like you want to get somebody that you feel like doesn't want anybody else, and it's just more like, why wouldn't they want somebody else? And if they did, would they still do what's right? And so you have to kind of understand that, you know, it's good to have somebody that has a conscience and believes the way that you believe, so that, you know, when you're not around, they're still the same person they are when you are around. And that's the most important thing. I don't know if that's the most important thing for you individually, but for me personally, I don't want to have to wonder if they think that there's something else out there. There's more. I kind of like the fact that these person that I may or may not, you know, want to deal with is being around enough to understand that there are other options, but the one that I got is the one that's best for me. And, you know, I hope that everybody finds that in their lifetime. But it's just like, you really can't tell what's going to happen You know, you get somebody that's young, that's nice. You know, they still got bubble gum and they wet behind their ears, etc., etc. It's just once they get around others, different females, different men, whatever, are they still gonna be the same person that you met? And you know, there's really no guarantees, man. But you know, like I said, the best thing you can do is definitely be honest with yourself and understand that although there are other people out there, first of all, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Keeping your eyes to yourself, staying focused on what you got going on, coming up with more goals, staying busy, keeping, you know, being interesting, and keeping the like alive in the relationship. That's very important. I mean, love is important, right? It's probably the most important thing, but I think that the like isn't really emphasized as much, and I think that's also very important to keep the like in the relationship. Matter of fact, like the video while you liking shit, because you know, that helps the algorithm. Right now, we live, but you know, for those of you who might be viewing this on YouTube, etc., etc., what's going on, Cook? What's happening, man? What's happening, man? We appreciate everybody's viewership, man. I appreciate y'all's time coming in here and checking me out, man, because like I said, man, y'all could be doing anything else, man, but it's just me right now, man. You know, the savage next door, the real Tyler Durden, you understand? Jamerson, Ballard, exposing some of this stuff that needs to be exposed, you know, picking up rocks and just doing some deep cleaning in our culture, in our community, man. Like I said, today's topic is a baby daddy or a baby mother fit for marriage? Because the reason I ask this question is because, like I said, man, anybody can screw, man. That's not the hardest thing in the world to do. You understand what I'm saying? It lasts probably about 3 to 5 minutes, depending on who you are. Sometimes 20 or 15, depending on what kind of stamina you got. But, you know, after that, man, what's next? If the sex is the best thing you have to offer a person, you got a lot of work to do, man. And, you know, it's been a while for some of y'all. I understand that. I get it. But like I said, man, hold on, man. Hold on. Chill out. You know what I'm saying? Do some meditation, deep breathing, etc. You know what I mean? And don't let your genitals do the driving, man, because, you know, yeah, she got this, that, the third to offer, and she ready right now. But if she ready right now, she'll be ready a month from now, if that's what you really want to do. You know what I mean? Get to know the person, man. Check them out. See how they are when they're upset, when things don't go the way they think they should go. And then you can decide further whether you want to be dealing with this, or if you can deal with this. Check out their family tree. Look at their bloodline. Look at what's going on in their house. You know what I'm saying? Check out some. I mean, I'm not saying that you should be too hard on people, because it ain't no perfect person, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, there are ways to figure out whether a person is best for you or not. Because I know for me personally, man, I can be a lot to deal with sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? You know, been around the block a few times, had a few failures, and, you know, some expectations, but expectations do kill relationships. Again, I'm not necessarily a relationship expert. I'm just stating the facts that some of you aren't marriage material. If you're honest with yourself, yeah, you can get hit, yeah, but are you the type to take home to mom or dad? If you met the girl's dad right now, would he sign off on what you got going on? Are you fit? Would you let your daughter date somebody like you long term? Hell no. Hell no, nigga. You ain't got no job. Why are you hunting for coochie when you don't have a job, young man? Young lady, why are you so interested in this man's penis when you haven't figured out what his last name is yet? You haven't done any homework. You don't do any of that. And that's just ridiculous, man. Now, I heard a brother say that, a lot of people, and this is my also feel like this, right? That and this is another episode also, but self-discipline starts in the appetite. Meaning, a lot of you will eat anything and don't have no reservations to what you will consume. Whether it's television, music, you just don't care about what it is that you put in and around your body. And that will be where a lot of it has to start. And then, you can have some ramification of what needs to happen in order for you to get along with a person long term, because you will start to grow. You will start to care about these things. At some point you should. You know what I'm saying? So you 44 and you get somebody that's 25, they have no idea what any of this is. They're not talking about any of that. You got a lot of work to do, sir. And once they get to the point, who's guaranteed that you still dealing with you? You might not make the cut. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got a little bread. But, like I tell people, man, you got to get in their head before you get in their bed, man. Yeah, just because a person got money don't mean they the right one for you, man. They might treat you really bad. And, you'd hate to give away all your good years and figure out that later on down the line. And it's just like, that ain't going to work for me. She might not be as affectionate as you want her to be long term, sir. You might like girls that are kind of standoffish. But, the thing that you love about a person will also be the thing that you come to despise at some point, most likely. So if she was easy to get, it's going to be easy to lose. Most likely. There are exceptions to these rules. I'm just saying, man, you have to require something, especially when you in the capital letter club. Now, some of y'all might call that a high value, man. I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm just saying I wouldn't refer to myself as that. Although I do have values, it depends on who you ask, whether your values are high or whatever. I try to be, down to earth and, just, smooth about things. I'm not necessarily the easiest person to get along with. There are those of you who has crashed into me and they did not have a pleasant experience. I love everybody, but I don't play. But shout out to those of you who understand that now. And for those of you who don't, I hope that you don't have to find out the hard way. Like I said, but I'm not out here to try to get into it with people. I really do this show because I do care, man. And these are some topics that a lot of people won't touch. I had a hard time feeling like whether I wanted to touch it or not, because it is a bit controversial, but it's designed to have difficult conversations. Some of y'all, like I said, might not like this, and that's okay. I'm not going to be liked by everybody, and I'm all right with that. The point of the matter, though, is if you aren't marriage material, you have to understand that early and do the work now. That way you won't be heartbroken when you don't get picked, when you feel like you're being looked over. Would you pick you? A lot of you niggas out here talking, I want a 10, I want a 10. What are you doing to deserve a 10, bro? You a 5 at best. At your best. You definitely don't deserve a 10. And if you got one, would you know what to do with it? Because, man, you don't clean up very often. Your house is a mess. Your kids are muck. They're running around causing chaos. You call you on the phone. They in the background. Sit down. Stop. Quit. I said sit down. That is a turnoff, man. That is a huge turnoff. You can't even talk. I gotta wait till your kids gotta go to sleep before we can even talk on the phone. That's if you can get a person on the phone nowadays. You text and you get 20 minutes before you get a text back. Look, I'm on to the next. I don't have time to wait all day on your text because you cleaning up after 3 or 4 kids. And if you a dude that got a kid by a woman that's got 4 other baby daddies, I feel sorry for you, sir. I hate to think that you're doing that bad. And ma'am, if he's got 5 other kids by 5 other baby mamas, do you really think that he is going to treat you special for a long period of time? It's only a matter of time before you become number 6 and you just mad that you number 6. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, dudes, let's tighten up out here, man. Let's get back to where we are a culture of people who desire to be married and do things for the long term. And we not just fly by night, man, because like I said, the child, although a divorce is sad and it's difficult, I mean, if you've had a child by somebody and that didn't work out, that is pretty much a failed marriage, if I'm being honest with you. And the difference, though, is you cannot split a child down the middle like you can do a house. I guess you could sell it back and then split the money, etc. You know what I mean? It's not a piece of property or car or anything that you can just, it's a person. And believe it or not, after that person turns 18, the shit don't stop. If anything, things get more expensive. This child who is now a young person causes more damage than they would when they was 13. And the punishment is more strenuous. It's still stressful. They may have 2 or 3 kids, and you would, you know what I mean? You don't care about the kids. You don't want to be a grandmother or grandfather raising kids for your kid because you didn't do your job with your kid because you're too busy trying to do other stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like I said, your life don't have to be over because you had a kid. It's just it takes 2 to fully raise this child into the person they need to be, so we don't keep having all these half-developed people causing all these problems in this world. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. It's really sad. These kids need you, man. I went to a award ceremony for some children years back, and it's like they didn't leave that school until everybody in the place got an award, and that has made a lot of these children very, very soft and needy. I mean, I'm not even the type to get down on younger generations, but a lot of y'all need to be patted on the back just to show up to work every day when you getting paid to be there. And it's kind of ridiculous. But a lot of you don't have 2 parents, whether you have a dad, you may not have a mom, or you have a mom, but you don't have a dad there, and you don't know what a relationship looks like, and it's just everybody has fallen apart, and their plans are to keep us down. But if we are to get up, we have to straighten up, deal with each other, love each other, and be willing to go into this for the long haul, man. It's ridiculous, man. It's really sad that, right when the girl get pregnant, she about to have a baby, y'all break up, and now you got another broken home with a child that don't have balance in it. And, that just makes it horrible for the rest of us now we don't have nobody to pick from because nobody is finishing their job, man. Nobody wants to raise somebody else's kid. Nobody grows up wanting to raise somebody else's kid, man. They don't. That's not my first choice, is to be trying to raise somebody else's kid. So do yourself a favor and put your genitals up if you can still do that while you still got a chance, and just try to get what you need to get. And put the sex on the back burner where it belongs. It's not necessarily supposed to be in the forefront. I know we in a society where everybody, showing their 6-pack off, and they hoochie daddy shorts, or they hoochie mama shorts, so they, you know what I mean, everything is out. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, I'm not even, I'm not gonna complain because some of that, as far as the female, it's nice to look at, but is that something you should be picking? Should you be showing all that? How can you expect a man to take you seriously if that's what you got going on, man? You know what I'm saying? And if he do, he's probably a weenie. And it's one thing to be one, but to stay one and be comfortable with that is just a whole nother thing. But I don't want to beat a dead horse. I'm pretty sure some of y'all is probably a little bit upset with me now because I've said some things that hit a little bit home, like I said, but I'm pretty sure, you know, I mean, this cuts both ways. I didn't leave out of this unscathed. Like I said, man, I have to, as a person that has been in a relationship that failed, I am also in this category. And there are some of you who might feel like if you're a man and you don't have children, are you fit to be a father? I would argue, of course, but you know, where's your track record to show that? You understand what I'm saying? I would think that because you have discipline with your penis, you would be even more valuable. But there are some females who feel like they might not want a man of a certain age without kids because they don't want to be the one to have them. They've gotten too old now, etc., etc. You understand? And it's like, okay, say if you 35 and you don't have children as a woman, it's like, so nobody believed in you? Nobody wanted to put a baby in you? Are you swallowing all of them kids? It can't be that you ain't had sex. So it's like, you know, there is a level of realisticness that has to come into play. You know, you hope that a person is 35 that doesn't have kids is just, you know, it's because they decided not to, etc. But it brings some different questions into play. You know what I mean? Are you even a woman? One thing about having kids, and I mean, you know, you hope that you can bank on that. Like, well, at least I know this is a woman. Nowadays, that's crazy to even have to wonder that. But anyway, and that doesn't mean that they didn't get a sex change and adopted a kid in order to play this whole thing. That would be a lot of work. That's too much game, to be perfectly honest. And I'm gonna reel it in because that's way too far. We getting into a whole bunch of different stuff with that one. But at any rate, now it's time for the segment I like to call Don't Be a Weirdo. And on today's Don't Be a Weirdo, we got a guy that is pretty weird. So let me refer to my notes real quick because I don't remember the guy's name. But it looks like the guy's name is Joseph Killings of Tampa Bay, Florida. Right now, he's in jail for kidnapping and raping a DoorDash driver. Wow. So you raping DoorDash drivers, bruh? Bruh, that shit is weird, man. First of all, you raping. Why is you raping? Ain't nobody fucking with you like that, bro. You can't find nobody. You could buy some pussy. You can meet up with people. It's too much going on for you to have to rape. You already have to buy the gun that you finna use to rape somebody. Why not just spend $75, $100 on a hooker or something? And I'm not even trying to promote that. I'm just saying, why go the rape route? That's just too much. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. It's freaks everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? You in Florida too? Why is you rape? Anyway. So the man raped and kidnapped a DoorDash driver. He allegedly pulled a gun on her after she stopped to make a delivery. He then forced her to go to an apartment by gunpoint where he sexually assaulted her, but what probably saved her was the fact that she was on the phone with her homegirl when she was attacked. So if you out here door dashing, I would hope that if you got somebody in your life, you letting them know where you are. You might want to decide to share your location especially in Tampa, Florida. Apparently they raping out there, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, don't be out here secretly door dashing or postmating or whatever they doing nowadays, because you could be a victim. You know what I mean? That doesn't just mean it's not just for the food either. They taking panties out here. I mean, it's just, she was on the phone with her folks. I guess she heard while she was getting attacked, so she was able to contact the authorities. And the man that shot one of the girl's people when they was trying to get with her, and I think he didn't stole somebody else's stuff the next day. So it's just like, he in jail now, and I don't think he should be getting out no time soon, bro, because you should not be out here raping and stealing coochie. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't be stealing anything. You know what I mean? But you're kidnapping and stealing coochie. That's 16 thumbs down for you, sir, and you are our weirdo of the week. Please don't do that. Don't do that. If you're watching my show, don't do that shit. I will put you on blast. You're weird. But that's it for that. The next subject, or the next topic, or I'm sorry, the next segment is a segment I like to call Who Got Active? Because a lot of you niggas ain't activated. I mean, you see something going on and you just watching and looking, and that's sickening. You see somebody being hurt, something being done to them, and you could do something about it besides filming, and you ain't doing it. You not active, bro. I need some of y'all to understand that it's time to get active and do that. One dude in LA was one of those people who went ahead and got active. Apparently, Donna Gunnarson's brother, Ron, because they didn't really give his last name, but he out in Los Angeles, bro, sprung into action as a gust of wind sends a helpless baby stroller into the oncoming traffic. You know what I mean? When you seen that, I guess the baby's great aunt fell down trying to catch the baby. She just wasn't ready to do nothing. She couldn't get it. She, knees were scraped up, the man said, whenever he went and got the baby. But he sprung into action when the baby stroller was rolling. It was ghost riding right in the traffic, and bro dashed and went and grabbed it and stopped it from going into traffic, bro. And that's shout out to you, man, because I'm glad you was able to do that, man. Because if you wasn't there, man, that baby was a goner, and we do not want to report on that. At any rate, you got there in the nick of time, man. Like I said, shout out to you, Ron. You did your thing, man. You are, you got active. And new segment alert. We got a new segment that we like to call Wake the Fuck Up. And I don't know if it's going to stay. I might actually change it, because I don't know if I can find a hashtag that's exclusively for me. I've been trying to change how it's spelled and everything. It's getting on my nerves, actually. But right now, Wake the Fuck Up is a segment where I highlight artists that I feel like is raw as fuck and niggas to sleep on them. And you may not be, right? This might not be somebody you sleep on, but it's another artist out of Detroit that I've been following for quite some time. And bro was fire when Eastside 80s was still out and involved. But it's Dame Dot. Dame Dot is pretty raw, man. I mean, he got everybody out here wearing the Amiris right now, whether you know that or not. And he's been in the game for a minute, so it's been a couple hiccups, but ain't no square shit going on, no snitching going on, none of that. Right now he got a new project out called It Hit Different, and I'm fucking with it. It's a couple tracks I like to highlight. I got if you rock with me on Facebook, it's Jamerson Ballard on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. I put links to a couple of the tracks on there. Like I said, I still have yet to update my Underboss mix. But in a minute, I'll be able to get that together, and you can just, listen to that and sort through it. And if you like some of this stuff, cool. You can like them. If not, I don't give a fuck. It's still raw to me. But right now, like I said, I'm feeling this couple songs. Cookie Cutter is one. Forgery is another one. And I'm in Love with Money is another one. And then Designer. That's the latest one I've been rocking with, because I haven't really finished the whole album yet, but it's slapping. So yeah, man, take that one with you, man. This definitely one to grow on, man. Like I said, man, I don't want to be on here too long. I still got stuff going on I got to do. But I'll take this time out to kind of give you some game and try to wake y'all up a little bit, man. This has been another show of, R&R. You know what I mean? I'm Jamerson Ballard. Please, if we got anything from the show, man, please, rock with me monetarily. My Cash App is $SuperStee, SuperStee. Like, share, subscribe. And like I said, I do this every Monday around 6 Central Time. So, man, if you want to go live with me, interact with me, rock with me, follow me on Instagram, man, until I get big enough to be able to go live on YouTube. But, I do put the shows out on YouTube and on Facebook also. So, if that's how you catch me, I appreciate that too. But have a good afternoon and a productive week, and I'll see y'all next time.